Hello. Yeah, 1 second. Yeah, fine. So let's start our session. So in the previous session, we have learned so many concepts like rest operator, spread operator, and the for loops, template literals, destructuring. These are all the things we have learned. Today, we will move on to one important concept that is nothing but JavaScript classes. So let's try to explain these JavaScript classes. First, before explaining these JavaScript classes, what I can say is JavaScript classes are nothing but these are template class templates. So that means blueprint of a object. So these are not literally direct objects. These are the blueprints for the objects. First of all, let's try to see how we can create an object using a function. I will try to show you. Then I will try to show you how we can convert it into an classes. For example, let's say that for creating an object, we have a function something like person, and here in this one, so in this one we will be having something like let's assume that this dot name something like this. We will be assuming the properties, we will be writing it like this dot name is equal to Leela. So in order to get an object, so this is a blueprint. Okay, this is a blueprint for an object. In order to get a object, so you will use something like new person. Okay, and if you try to do the console.log of person, so you'll be having this one. Now if I try to run it, so I'm able to get an object, right? So this is a simple thing. So this is a simple function. Now not only in this way, so we can also use the same thing. We can also use the same thing, something like I can also convert this function into a class also. So let's keep it like this function thing. Now in order to represent the same scenario using a classes in JavaScript classes, which was introduced in the ES6, or what we can do is, so we can have class instead of function, and I can have the class name person, and here first instead of creating a property, I will create a method something like hello. Okay, also you can have this one something like this dot hello is equal to function of something like this we will be writing, and here I can write a some console.log hello, and I can use this dot name directly. So like this we can write it. Now here I am trying to mention the same function method in this one, and here I can write console.log. I can use console.log hello Leela. Okay, so this is the method. I can use it somewhat like this. Now we are having a simple class. So this notation and this notation is one and the same only. Now let's try to comment out this one, and here I am commenting out this one. Now this is a class person. Instead of mentioning it as a function, we are mentioning it as a class, and this is a method. In the classes methods we will be writing like this, something like it will be like this only. And now I am creating a new person. I am creating an object for this class. Same scenario how we create an object for a function, and here I am consoling the person. Let's try to see the output. What could be there? If we try to see here, we are getting an object, right? Now I want to let's try to initialize the property also. So for example, let's say that I want to initialize a property. So now you will be having a method something like constructor. Okay, in this constructor I can write something like this dot name is equal to Leela. I can use it like this. Now let's try to see the output for this one. Now you got the name Leela. So the same object what I have created, the same scenario. So this also it has created an object for this one, new person. Now for example, let's say that if I want to use this one, here I can use something like this dot name. Directly I can use this dot name here. So here, okay, let's try to call this one. I want to call this one person.hello. So I can call directly like this, person.hello. Now if I try to call this one, you will be able to see hello Leela. So this is how we will be mentioning the classes, classes in a ES6 JavaScript. So this is very simple. So what we have did is nothing but this representation. So we have converted into the class representation, the functional object, how we are creating in the same scenario. So we have created into a class thing. Now if you want to see the prototype for this one, what will the prototype for this one, what will be the prototype for this person? The prototype will be this one only. So if you want to check, you can also check that one. Something like, I will try to show you, something like console.log person dot underscore proto. You can check it. And if you want to check the prototype, it should be something like is equal to person. So not person dot prototype. So if you want to check, you can check it without any problem. So you will get it as true. It will not belong to object or anything. So you got it as true. So it will not belong to object. So it does not belong to. So same like functional properties, how it will behave. So it will behave in the same way. So you will get it as false. So this is all about the classes thing. So same as functional representation. So if you want to represent the classes, you can also represent using this functional thing. Now this is all about the classes. So this is a simple thing. Now let's say that how we can implement the inheritance in this class. Okay, let's try to implement inheritance in this class. I am removing this class thing. Okay, so this is about one. Now what I want to do is I want to show you the inheritance, how we can implement this inheritance. Let's say that I am having another class Leela, which extends the person. That's it. So this is a class I am having. It is extending the person. Now let's say I am creating Leela object is equal to new Leela. I am creating Leela which is of new Leela. So that means I am creating an object for Leela. Now what I will try to do, I will call Leela.hello, so which is present in the parent. So I am creating an object for Leela and I am calling the hello function which is present in the parent class. Now let's see what could be the output here. Here see we are able to see the output for this one. So that means so if you create an object for the child, you can also if you create an object for the child, so you can use it like this. For example, let's say that I am using constructor and here I am using this dot name. Okay, we can also pass it, right? Now here if you pass Leela here, okay, and this one is using hello this dot name, right? So I am passing this one as something like Krishna or anything. So will this output will come? Let's try to see it. So now if you try to see here, we are able to see this Krishna. So that means the constructor, what I can say is the argument which I am passing to this child constructor is passed to the base constructor of this one name, so that we are able to see the output for this one. Now let's say that for this child constructor also we are having a for this child class also we are having a constructor. Okay, now what will happen for this one? So for example, let's say that this one is taking an age and I will write this dot age is equal to 30. Okay, so now what I want to do, I want to access here age is this dot age. Now what I am trying to do here, so try to understand it. It's simple. So I'm having a child class and in this child class we are having a constructor which is taking a parameter of age and we are storing in the property, and here we are having a parent class and which we are trying to do hello console.log and we are trying to name, and the age is something like that. We are trying to use the child class property. Now here I will try to send something like, so we are creating an object for the child class, so now I need to send age something like 30. Okay, otherwise here we need to give something else. Now I need to pass like this. Now what is the output? So we are able to get the output. See here, so we are getting an error that so you have called the child constructor. Okay, so you have called this child object, but you need to call the child you need to call the super constructor, means nothing but the parent constructor. in derived class this are returning from the derived constructor. So it is saying an error. So that means we need to call the parent constructor so that this dot name should be so because of this dot name derived constructor, because of this dot name, so we are getting an error. Now we are passing Leela 30 only, right? So what I can do is here, in order to call this constructor, so we need to call super, okay, and we need to send the like this. Now it will call the child constructor. Inside this one it will see the super. Okay, I need to call the parent constructor first. It will call this parent constructor and we are passing the arguments. So these parameters it will be taken and this dot name will be assigned. And now if you try to see the output, so here we are able to get the output, hello Leela, age is 30. Okay, so this is how we will be calling this super constructor. So if you want to call this super constructor means, so we will be using it super of Leela like this. Now let's say that I am having here also hello function. Okay, so I am calling here hello from child. Now here what is the problem we are having? So here I am creating a child so object for the child and I am calling Leela.hello. That means, so this is the thing I am calling. Now if I try to see the output, so here I am able to see that hello from child. So this is the method it is going to be executed. So fine, so this is fine. Now I want to execute this, what I can say, this hello instead of this hello. Okay, instead of this hello object method, I want to execute this super thing. So what I can do here, so if you want, you can write something like super.hello. You can mention it like this. Okay, now if you try to see the output, so here I am able to see that super.hello means, so now this hello, when you are calling this hello is in return calling this thing. For example, let's say that I am having this one hello from child. I am writing hello from child. Okay, and now if you try to see, let's say that I am having hello twice or something like this. Okay, so now I will call, first time is this dot hello. Okay, and I will also call this dot hello. So now I am taking this hello twice, I am calling this one. So first time it will try to call this dot hello means this hello only. So why? Because in this child class this dot hello is present. So that is the reason it is printing that this dot what I can say from the child class. So this is expected only. Why? Because I have created an object for this child thing only. But what I want to do is, so I want to execute the hello method from the parent. Then what I can do is I can write super for here. So now if I try to super from here, now this dot hello means it will take it from the child. Super dot hello means it will take it from the parent class. Now if you try to see the output, see both the hellos, that the output is different. So this is all about this, what I can say about the inheritance. So this is the only inheritance which we will be having in the JavaScript. So these are nothing but the templates of objects only, but we are using the class concept and the inheritance concept for this one. Okay, we don't have the interface and all those things, so you don't think about the implements and all those things. You don't have these all things. In the TypeScript we will be having, but this is the class thing. So we are for extending the inheritance, so we will be using this Leela extends person, and this is a constructor. If you want to call the super constructor, base constructor or parent constructor, you need to use the super, and you can pass the parameters for this one. And these are the methods. If you want to call the parent method means you need to use the super.hello, or otherwise you can use it this .hello. So this is all about this classes things, inheritance. Now I will try to tell you another thing also, simple thing, static methods. So for example, let's say that I am having a class person. Okay, I want to send a message, something like message. I will try to do console.log welcome. I am writing simple message. Now in order to access this message method, what I need to do, first I need to create an object, then only I can use it. Now I want to call this one means I can call something like person.message. Okay, so welcome. Now we need to create an object, then only you can access the method in this class. Now for example, if I want to access something like class dot something like this, now the class name I am using, without creating an instance or object, without creating instance, I want to use this message thing. So if I try to use this one, So now here you are getting an error that parent.message person.message is not a function. So in order to access this one without creating an instance, so we need to mention the message static method. Okay, so now you can access this one without any problem. So these are the static methods. This is how we will be mentioning the static methods in a class. So if you want a methods and you don't want to what I can say, you don't want to create the instance or object for a class and you want to directly use the methods, means you can use the static like this, static keyword before this one, and you can use it directly without any problem. So this is all about these static methods. So these are pretty straightforward. So whatever the class name you will be having, you can use it. Now these are the pretty much about the classes which you will be using. So classes are nothing but what I can say is these are nothing but what I can say is objects representation only, but these are the blueprints how we will be writing the function. So we will be writing in the same way. And another one what I want to tell you is about the getters and setters. We can also implement the getters and setters in the classes also. Same thing like other programming language, we can mention it. For example, let's say that I'm having a class person. Okay, so I'm having a constructor. Okay, I will be taking name, and instead of this one here I am having this dot. So I am saving it another name. This dot name is equal to name. Okay, now I want to set something like get name. Okay, so get name. Now what I will try to do, so whenever somebody asks the name, so I will try to do this dot underscore name dot to uppercase. I will try to send it as uppercase only, something like this. Okay, so if anybody wants to set the name, so they will be sending the value. Okay, now let's say that we can add a condition something like if value dot length is greater than 2. So if the string value, if the string characters is greater than 2 only, then only save it in the underscore name is equal to value, or otherwise send a message something like console.log not saved or anything. So whatever the thing you want, you can mention it. So these are the getters and setters. Now what I have created here, I have created a, so this is a class and I'm having a getter and setters for this property. So this don't think as this one as a methods. So this is the property and I am writing the getter and setter for this one. Now here we are having another property, something like assume it as a private property. This is dot underscore name. So now underscore name we cannot access it directly. So if you want to access it directly, means you need to use this property name, so that it will do some logical calculation and all those things and it will send you the name. For example, let's say that I am having a object. So let person is equal to new person. So I am creating it like this. So now I want to send the name, right? So I will send the name. That's it. Now I want to access the person. So now what I can do, so person dot name. So I can use this person dot name. Now if you take this person dot name, we have passed it as Leela. Now if you try to see the output, so we are getting it as an uppercase. Why? Because so we are getting the we are accessing this property person dot name. So we don't have the property. So we have the getter property. So get name will execute and it will send this one to the uppercase. Okay. So for example, if you want to send, you can also send the normal thing also. Now if you try to run it, so you will get this one. So whatever the value it is trying to return it, this property will try to return. Now if I want to set the name, so underscore name, if I want to set it, means so you need to set this one to the name. For example, let's say that person dot name is equal to something like what I can do, anything. So you can write something like this. You can write it. Anything you can write. So now let's try to do the console.log of person dot name. Okay, I'm trying to access this person dot name. Now if you try to see the output, so we are able to see the output of person dot name has been updated to so whatever the name we have sent it. For example, let's say that I am passing only 2 letters. Now let's say that what is the output, you will get it. So now here we are getting it as not saved. Why? Because so this is the condition we have written. Now person dot name is not saved. So instead of writing the logic here, asking that user all the time, so send only the 2 characters, more than 2 characters of name, assign the more than 2 characters of name, like that, instead of asking, we can set it in the setters, so that every time whoever is using directly, So we can check these all the conditions. So like this we can use this setter thing. So if the value length is greater than 2 means then only it will assign it, or otherwise you will get a not saved and person.name is still Leela only. So this is how we will be implementing the getters and setters in the what I can say is in the classes. So these are most probably about all the what I can say. These are all about this classes thing. So now what I want to tell you is another thing. We have another concept also. So we have seen this concept, right? What I can say is, for example, let class Leela extends person. So that means, so we have extended the custom classes. So this is our custom class. So this is Leela is our custom class, and here this class person is our custom class. Okay. Not only these custom classes, we can also extend the built-in classes that are available in the JavaScript. So let's say assume that array, object. So these are all the classes that are present in the JavaScript. So we can also extend these things, array. So if you try to extend this array, now let's try to see that I'm having a method something like multiply by 2. Okay. So I'm having a method something like multiply by 2. So I will take that array value. Okay. So now I will take this array value. Okay. So now I will take this array value. Now what I want to do, this dot for each. So now I am using this dot for each. Okay. If you try to understand it, this dot for each. Why I am using this dot for each? Here normally we used to use something like array dot for each we will be using. So whatever the array we are having, we will be using array dot for each. But here this extends, this array is extending this class, right? So we can use this one as this dot for each. So you will get a value. I will try to show you. So now what I will try to do here, whenever we are trying to do it, so I will try to push these values something like value into array. So value into 2. Okay, that's it, right? That's it. So I have used it like this. Now I will try to return the array. Okay, if you try to understand it, so I am using multiply by 2. Now let's try to create an instance for this one. So what I will try to do is, so here let Leela is equal to anything. So whatever the name you want, you can write it. So let Leela of. So this is the object I am creating. Now here I can use something like Leela.push of 1. So how can I use this push of 1 means? So you are extending this one to an array. So that means I can array objects, whatever the arrays methods that are available in this array, everything can access it for this class. So push will be a method for this array. So I can access this push thing. So I can access, I can access something like Leela.push of 2. So I am pushing the values to the array. Leela.push of 3. Now I have pushed those all the values. Now what I want to do, so I will try to do console.log of multiply by 2. Okay, sorry, Leela.multiply by 2. If I try to do multiply by 2, this is the method I am using, right? Multiply by 2, or otherwise I'll try to copy. Yeah. Now if you try to see the output, see here I am able to see the 1, 2, 3, and here we have multiplied into 2, 4, 6 into 2, right? So we are getting an output 2, 4, 6. So like this also we can use. So not only the custom classes, we can also extend the built-in classes. So you can also extend the object, and whatever the methods that are available in the object, you can use it. So array method. So now for each value is a method that is present in the array. So I can use something like inside this class, I can use something like this dot for each, or otherwise you can use it array dot for each also. But array is already present, so you can use it this dot for each. Okay. So now we are pushing these all the values into the array thing. So here push method already present in the array. So this is extending this, Leela is extending this array. So I can use this Leela.push like this. So like this also we can use it. So just I am explaining you, not only for the custom classes, we can also extend it with the built-in classes. This is what I can tell you. And another one what I want to tell you is, so these are all most probably about this classes thing only. Okay. So these all comes under the classes. Now let's come to the another new important thing, that is promises. So here in the classes what we have seen, so before binding up these classes, let's try to see the creation of the classes. in JavaScript. We have seen creation of the classes in the JavaScript. So important thing. So, and also the difference between the function and the classes we have seen. So function object and also the class object, how it will behave. Same thing it will behave. So we have seen it. Now we have seen about the inheritance. Okay. And also the super. So how we need to use this super, calling the parent method or parent constructor, we use the super property. Also we can use super. Now another one is the static method. So we have used the static methods. And what are the things we have learned about the getters and setters? So how we can use these getters and setters also we have used it. And not only custom classes, built-in classes also we can extend it. I have shown you built-in classes also we can extend, like array object or anything. Math is all the things are there. Array object, math is all the things we can extend it, so that we can use all the methods that are available in the math or array directly like this. So this is all about the classes that are available in the JavaScript. Now let's move on to another new concept, that is a promises. So these are the very important concept. So promises, not important concept, just it's an important thing which we will be using more often. So what is a promise? So this is very important. So what is a promise? All the people will be asking this one. What is a promise? Promise in English terminology, you can say that it is a promise. So that means you will be you are giving a promise that I will do this task, something like that. Okay, you are giving a promise. So now let's say that you are giving assurance that I will do this task, something like that we can assume. Now promise is nothing but in the JavaScript also in the same scenario like this only. The JavaScript will give an assurance that I will execute this task. Okay, I will execute this task. So we know that when we are writing a code, something like, so let x is equal to 1 and console.log x, like this you'll be writing. Now there is no need of promise here. So JavaScript, it's a duty or it's a job for us to execute this line, and it's execute this line. So it's going on. So it should execute all of the lines, and it should tell that if any error comes, means it should show the error. So there is no need of promise and all. Its duty is to do execute the thing. Then why we need a promise from the JavaScript? So for example, let's say that JavaScript, when it is relying on the third party, okay, when we are relying means when we are dependent on the third party data. Third party data means external data. So which we need to get a data from the external sources. So when we are getting a data from the external sources, so data we are getting. So that means, so we cannot trust the external sources. Okay, trust means nothing but not trust, something like what I can say is we cannot expect it immediately. So it may take some time to get the data from the external sources. So it may get some time, something like it may take 2 seconds depending on the server thing, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, or otherwise it may take 1 minute. Okay, so 1 minute. So like this, we cannot give the time and all those things. Now if you give the time means I can write a set timeout like this, and I can tell that to execute a task. So you will get a data from external source. Get data from external source. So here, say I will try to write some logic. I will try to write it. So if we know that, so for example, let's say that get data after 1 minute. Okay, we know that we will get a data after 1 minute. So now we got the data, we captured in one variable. Now what I will try to do, so using that variable, I need to execute it. For example, let's say that, so I am looping over this for loop, let x is equal to, so or otherwise I want to do something like x is equal to x plus 2 or something like this. Okay, now when it's try to execute, so where x is equal to get data after 1 minute. Now here it has seen that, so x we need to wait for after 1 minute. So it will JavaScript actually it will not wait. We need to tell exclusively that to wait. So that is a different concept. Now it has executed. It didn't got the data. It got something other data. It didn't got the data. Why? Because it after 1 minute the x value will be filled up. Now it went to here x is equal to x plus 2. It tried to execute, but x value it didn't have the x value. Why? Because we will get the x value after 1 minute. So JavaScript will simply throw an error. Now we know that if you got data after 1 minute, what we will try to do? I will try to do the set timeout. Okay, and I will try to do this set timeout, and I will try to execute exactly after 1 second, after 1 minute or something like this. So I can use this one. So I can use like this. Now after 1 minute, I will try to do the x plus 2. So now here it will try to execute this line. Okay, and it will go after sometimes, and here it will try to see set timeout. Okay, I need to execute it after 1 minute, and it will go down, it will execute all the lines. After some time it will try to see that, okay, I need to do the x plus 2 after 1 minute. It will try to do the x plus 2. By the time x value came, so it will try to execute it without any problem. So this is when you know that you will get a data after 1 minute. But now we cannot, so in some scenarios, not in some scenarios, all the scenarios, we cannot assume the time. It may take some time. So something like it may take 1 minute, it may take 1 second. Sometimes it may take so much of time also. So sometimes we get within 1 second or within half second also you can get the data. So now, so these scenarios will not be useful. So for example, if it is getting after 2 minutes, the set timeout will execute within 1 minute and you will get again error. So this is the not correct way. So because of these reasons, we use a promise. Promise, what it will try to do is, so you will create a promise. Okay, you will create a promise, and for this promise will say that, okay, I am promising you that when I get the data, I will execute it. So here you will try to call the promise. Okay, so when I get the data, then what I need to do? So then you will write like this, then so execute a logic. So you will write a function, execute a logic. Here you will execute the logic. Now this one, what it will try to execute is, so you will try to make a call. Okay, it will return a promise, and now when this promise is resolved, that means promise is resolved means when the promise is got success, then it will execute this function. So it may be a 1 second or 1 minute or 2 minutes, 10 minutes. It will wait until this promise is resolved. So when this promise is resolved, means when we get the data, then it will execute this function. So this is called as actually promise. This promise is mainly used in when we are trying to make the API calls. These all the things, Ajax calls, these all things when we are trying to make it. So we'll try to use these promises. This promises is not supported in the ES5, so we use that XML HTTP request, those things. Promise has been introduced in the ES6, and if you want to make this promise to work in the older browsers, we need to use other techniques like polyfills. These are all the things we need to use it. So this is called as a promise. For example, let's say that I will show you the demo. Instead of calling an API, I will show you a demo. Let's say that I am having a promise. Okay, so I am having a promise, let's assume. Now what I want to do is, so I want to create a promise. So first what I will try to do, I will try to create a promise, new promise. So for creating a promise, I am creating a new promise. Okay, this is also a class object we are creating, and this one will take a function. Okay, I am creating a promise. So here, now this one will take a function, and in this function we will be having resolve and reject. So that is nothing but promise got success or promise got failed. Resolve and reject, we used to call this one as resolve and reject. Now let's say that this promise is sending a data, something around around 2 seconds of time. Okay, it is sending a data around 2 seconds of time. So it is sending data. Sending data means nothing but we need to use the resolve, and and you need to send the data, something like this, resolve of done. So this is the promise. So now here we have a promise. So let's think of this one as then something like external API call. Okay, external API call. So here we are having an external API call, and this one after 2 seconds you are getting a data. So you are getting a response, something like post we have did it, right? So like this, think of this one. So we are creating our own promise instead of calling those APIs and all those things. Now this is our promise, this is our API call or something like this. Now I will be calling that promise. Now how we can call this promise, let's try to see. So here I will try to call this promise thing. Okay, the API call I am calling. Now we know that this one returns a promise, so we are wrapping this one inside a promise. So this set timeout, think of this one as an API call, so we are wrapping this one inside a promise. Now promise dot then. Okay, so you will have the function, first one is the function, and here you will be having a data. So data is nothing but whatever the data is sending, it will be stored in this variable. Now I can here do the console.log of data. Okay, now if you try to see the output, after 2 seconds you will get an output of done. So after 2 seconds we got the output. Now here if you try to see, let's say that I am looping over for let I is equal to 0, I less than 50, I plus plus. So some console.log of I, some logic is there at the bottom. Now if you try to see the output, so all these things will be executed. So up to Fortnite has printed, then afterwards done is printed. So that means it is going again back to, So the execution context has went down, but again this execution is going back again when this promise is resolved. After 2 seconds you get an output of done. When this promise is resolved, it is executing this function. Okay, this closure function, it is trying to execute this one. So this is the thing it is trying to do it. So this is called as a promise. Now for example, let's say that something error has occurred in your API and you are sending an error thing. So what we'll try to do, we'll try to send it and reject. Now let's try to see this one run. Now I will be waiting for 2 seconds. We will not get an output. Why? Because we have written only for the success. That then when this promise is success only, take the data and do the something. If the promise is not success, means we need to have some other logic we need, right? So the second parameter, it will take the another parameter. So error, you can write it like this, and here you can write the console.log of error. Okay, so this is the another way. Now the first parameter is nothing but the success function, and the second one is nothing but an error function. Now if you try to run it, so now here at the bottom you will be able to get this done. So this done, so sorry, reject we are using, right? So we'll try to use this error thing. Okay, or for both success and error we are passing it as done. Now you got the error thing. So now here it has been executed. So if you try to see console.log, trying to use this error form, but now let's try to see. Now if you try to see the output, now we are able to see that it has went into the second parameter function execution. So if you don't want like this, you can also implement in another scenario that, so when an success is found, dot, then you can use it, or otherwise when an error is found, dot catch. Okay, you will have a function of error. So like this also you can use it. If I try to execute it here, then also you will get the same output. So you can use it like this. So a promise will have a success dot then, and it will have a catch error. So when error is found, like this. So this is all about the promises thing. So promise, when we will use these promises, so nothing but you need to understand that when we are dealing with the third party external sources, we don't know when this data will be sending. So we know that. So now here we have written our dummy thing. So we are sending it as after 2 seconds. We don't know that how much time it will take for this one to send. So we don't know that when this promise is resolved. So when this promise we are getting data. So then in this scenarios we use this new promise. Okay, so we'll use this new promise and we'll try to wrap it in a then and catch block. So like this we'll use the promises. This is all about this promises thing. So for example, let's say that, so we'll be having some methods also. For example, let's say that I will try to use something like, let's assume that we have a 2 promises. Okay, I will try to keep that one first promise. So promise 1 we are having, and this one will be resolved at 1000, and we are having another one, let's say that promise 2. Okay, so promise 2. So this is another promise. Now this is a promise 1 and this one is a promise 2. Now we are be having, so now I want to do this one. So I want to execute both the promises. So here it will try to do resolve it something around done promise 1, and here I will try to do resolve it done promise 2. Okay, so I am having 2 promises. So now this one will be resolved at 2 seconds and this one will be resolved at 1 second. So that means, so 2 promises will be completed at different times. Now it will be executed in 2 seconds and this one will be executed in 1 second. Now what I want to do is I want to execute these 2 promises. When these both the promises got done, then I want to execute some logic. So what I can do here, so we have a method something like promise. Okay, static method, we can use it like this, promise.all, and we can pass as an array what are the promises you want to do it. So promise 1 and also promise 2. Okay, so you can use the dot then block, and here I can use the function of data, and here I can console.log function of data, and here also you can have dot catch of error, and you can use console.log of error. Now let's try to see the output here. Okay, so now here what we have did, we have created two promises. These both promises will be completed something around 2 seconds. One is, and another one is in 1 second it will be completed. Now what I want to do is, so I am combining both the promises, promise 1 and promise 2, so that if these both promises are completed, then only execute this then function. So if one promise is completed and another is not completed, means wait until the second is also completed. That means I want this all the promises to be completed. After completing all these promises, then only I want to get this then function should be executed, or otherwise execute the catch method. If I try to run this one, so now if you try to see here, so now we are getting the both the values, so both the return values of this promise 1 and promise 2 as an array, something like done promise 1 and also done promise 2. So these are the two promises. So after executing only it will, for example, let's say that I am using reject, so one of the thing has been failed. So resolve, one promise got success and another promise got failed. So now what could be the output here? So now we are telling that promise.all means, so both of these should execute. After completion of this, both of these, then only then should execute. But here one promise is getting failed. Why? Because we are rejecting that promise. Now what will happen? Let's try to see. If we try to see here, so we are getting only that done promise 2, that dot done promise 2. So here we are getting an error. It is going into this catch thing and we are getting the error. What is that error? We have found it. For example, let's say that we are writing error in promise 2. Okay. So now instead of executing this then function, if at least one promise got failed, means it will immediately go into the catch block and it will give you that promise error. What is the promise that has been failed? Okay. So this is about the promise solve. So when we use this promise solve means, so when we have multiple promises that needs to be executed completely, and after execution of these all promises, that all the promises which you have mentioned as an array, then only you should execute the then block, means you will be using like this. Or if any one of the promises failed, it should go to the catch block, means you can exit like this. So we have another one, something like race. Okay. So what is this race means? The name itself indicates the race thing. So whoever completes first, promise whoever the first completes first, then it will take that first value and it will go to the then block. So if the first promise is, so now here the first promise, which one is getting completed? Promise 2. So here in this promise 1, it will be completed in 2 seconds. This promise 2 is completed 1 second. So that means who is winning the race out of these two things? So promise 2 is winning the race. So that means it will take this value and it will go to the then function. It will not bother about this promise 1 then. Now here we got an error. So that means it will go to the error block. So it will not consider this promise 1 success also. Now if you try to see here, so now you got an error here. For example, let's say that this one is completing in 1 second success thing, and now this one is completing 2 seconds. That means the error promise is completing in 2 seconds, whereas this what I can say, the success promise is completing in 1 second only. Now who is winning the race? Here promise 1 and promise 2. Promise 1 is winning the race. Now it will go to the then block. Try to see here. Now here done promise 1. We are able to see this done promise 1, and here we are able to see the console.log. So this is all about this promise.all and the promise.race. So these are the two things which you need to remember. So that is the thing I can tell you. These are all about the promises. So when we will be using these promises means nothing but what I can say is, when you are calling these external calls, external API calls, we don't know when this output, when this result we are getting it from the API means, we will wrap them inside a promise, so that when we get this promise thing, then we can execute the then we can execute the logic using that data. So because of that reason, we will be using these promises. So promises is the one of the things. So in the ES6, so we will be using more often these promises when we are trying to make an HTTP calls. So by using promises only, we'll try to do it. Okay. So this is all about the promises. So today we have learned about the classes concept and also the promises. And also we have another method, another thing, something like I want to tell you one of the concept. For example, let's say that object.assign. So I want to tell you about the object.assign. So let's say that we are having an object. Let's assume so some simple object I am having. Let's say I am having an object 1 is equal to name of type Leela. Okay. So I am having a name of type Leela, and here I will be having object 2 age of 30 or something like this. Okay, I am using two objects. Now if I want to combine these two objects, what I can do, let object is equal to, so I have already shown you, so object 1 comma object 2. So this is the thing, right? Now if I try to see the output, oh, I need to cancel this object. Okay. Now I am able to see this object 1 and object 2. Okay, I need to use this dot 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 here. So now you will be able to get the output. So now these both objects are combined. So by using this one we can do it, or otherwise we can use something like object dot assign. Okay, and I can use object 1 comma object 2. So I can use it like this also. Now if we try to see the output, so then also you'll be able to get the same thing. Object dot assign, when we will be using this one is, for example, let's say that we are having a class obj1. I am having a constructor. Here I will try to do this dot name is equal to Leela. So this is one object. I am converting this object into a class thing. So here I am having a obj2. So class obj2, and here I will be having a constructor, and here I will try to do this dot age is equal to 30. Now what I am trying to do here, so we know that these two are templates for the objects. Let's try to create, let obj1 is equal to new obj1. Okay, and let obj2 is equal to new obj2. So let's try. Now what I am trying to do, I am combining these two objects, and let's try to see the output. So whether this name and object will be there or not. Now if we try to see the same output we are able to get. The same output object. So both the properties of these objects are combined and we are able to get this one. So like this we can do it using the object.assign. Now if you want to see the prototype for this object, so what is the, so for example, let's say that not prototype. So if you try to see the console.log, obj1 is an instance of, we have already seen about this one, instance of, okay, obj or not, obj1. This object is an instance for this class or not. If you want to check here, what is the output you will get? True only. Why? Because obj1 we have created instance from this obj1 class only. If I try to check this obj2, then I will try what is the output you will be getting, then also true only. Fine, it's correct. So I am getting it's correct only. But what about this obj? So then this obj, what is for which one this is the instance? Let's try to check it. If I try to check this one for obj1, what you will get output? You are getting it as true. So that means obj is an instance for obj1. What about this obj2? Let's try to see. Now if you try to see the output, so it is false. So that means whatever the first one you have assigned in this object.assign, the same thing in this thread operator also, the same thing, the instance of also will take the priority as the first one only. So that is the thing you need to understand it. Now if you try to check the prototype also, so the prototype also will be the same thing only. Console.log obj.__proto, so is equal to what I want to check, obj1.prototype. So now this prototype only it will become. So prototypes also will be the same for this one, true. Okay, so it is an instance of object one, and also the prototype also it is extending with the object one only. Okay, so this is the thing I want to explain you. And for example, let's say that, so whether this one is an what you can say, obj, whether this one is an prototype object or not. If you want to check means, so it one is false. So if you want to make this an object prototype means you can assign something like empty object. So this is an object, right? So this one is an object. Now if you try to see here, it will become true. So now this prototype will becomes to the first one. So this one's prototype is objects. So that is the thing I want to explain you. So this is the object.assign. So like this we will be using this object.assign thing. So other than this, what I can say, these are the only ES6 things what I can tell you. So in this one, in ES6, so we have the array methods, new methods has been found. Something like what I can say is declaration of this array. So declaration of this array. So let's say that we are having let array is equal to, normally, so we can use this one also, array of 5. This one is an old representation way only. Now if you try to do the console.log of array, so what could be the output for this one? So if you try to see the output, now five values will be created with a value of undefined, undefined, undefined. Okay, so 5 things will be created. So what I can say, 5 positions will be created with undefined, undefined, undefined. Now in ES6 we have something like array.off. Okay, we have a method array.off. Now what could be the output for this one is, so now 5 will be inserted here. So like this, so array, create an array with a value of 5 initially, something like and also you can give something like 5 comma 10 comma 11, sorry, 5 comma 10 comma 100. You can give like this. Now you can do it like this. So this is something like what I can say, 1 comma 2 comma 3, same thing, right? So in the same scenario you can give it like this. So this is one scenario. And what I can say is, you can also have something like from method is also there. So for example, let's say that we are having this one, so let new array, like this we can use it. So you'll be having array dot from, I can use this from method, so it will give you the value, and I can do value into 2. So that means like map operator. So it will be something like map operator. So it will loop over all the array values and it will try to give the new array. So if I try to see this one, console.log new array, and also you'll try to see the old array, what will be happen to the old array. Now if you try to see the output, something like 1 comma 2 comma 3. Like this, sometimes we need to do it this one, array dot from, this one only, right? So I remember. Okay, so syntax is different. So actually I need to do array dot from, and I need to pass first one as an array. What is the value of the array? I need to pass it. Okay, like this we need to check it. So you can use array dot of anything, so something it will. Okay, so now here you'll be able to see new array has been updated to 1 comma 2 comma 3 into 2 you have updated, like something like map operator. So these are some of the new methods you'll be having. And also one thing you will be having something like another method is array.fill. So you'll be having array.fill. For example, let's say I try to say that, so you are having the same thing, array.fill. So these are small minute things. So for example, if you try to see array.fill, now if you try to print this new array remove it. So now if you try to print this new array, now entire values will be filled with the 100. So 1 2 3, so how many values you are having, it is filling with the 100 thing. So these are some normal basic things. So for example, if you want to do the index, so for example, starting from the 1 0 1, and it should be ending position should be 2 0 1 2. So here the only this value will be changed. See here only the 100 is changed. So like this you can do it. So if you don't mention this one, so up to ending it will be changed. So like this. So fill is one method you'll be having. Some of the things are there actually. Now what I can do is we have one important thing also, array.find method is there. So what it will try to do, so for example, let's try to see that val is greater than equal to 2. Okay, so whatever the values I am having, so it should be greater than equal to 2. I am doing console.log. Let's try to see it. So what could be the output here? Now if you try to see the output, so you are getting only 2 as the output, but here we are having greater than 2 3 also, but it is not showing it, but it is not giving us 3, only 2 it is giving. So what does this find will do is, find is nothing but it will try to find the first match. So if it finds the match means it will stop executing. That's it. So greater than or equal to 2 means it has found this for 2, so it has stopped the 2 and has written that 2 has been found. It will not care about these remaining all elements. So this is about the find method. So this is what we can do it. So these are all about the array methods which you can see, and object method also I have told you, and string method, some of the string methods are there, very basic things only. So you know that what I can say, let name is equal to something like Leela. So these all things you can find it very easily. So if you try to learn it also you can make. So console.log you can see that starts with, so you can check it with something like LE. So it is starting with LE or not, we are trying to check it. So it will return you the true. So it is not a problem. So now I will try to make it as small case LE. So but it is matching, right? So whether it is case sensitive or not, we'll try to see. So now it is a case sensitive thing, false. So L is capital L and small e, L is different from this one. So if you want to check ends with, okay, you can have ends with, it should be LA. So this is also case sensitive only. So now it will return you the true. It is ending with the LA. Now what I want to do, if I want to find in the bit between, so you have a method something like includes, okay. So it will find, so where it will try to find it. For example, I want to see E. Now if you try to see here, you will return it as true. So for example, if I want to check it as EL, okay, so it will return as true. Why? Because we have found it. So for example, let's say that I am using EH, so you will return as false. So like this, we have some of the methods in the what I can say in the string also. Like this, you'll be having. So some of the methods other than this, these are the only string methods, some basic methods which have been introduced. And we'll be having something like in math also. We'll be having an important method, not important method. So just I want to show you. Let's say that we are having a method something like number, we are having minus 3.79 or something we'll be having. Okay, so console.log math.truncate. So we'll be having truncate math.truncate of number. I will pass this number. Just it will try to remove this decimal part. That's it. So now if you try to see the output, you will be able to get the 3, or otherwise you will be having 3.79. It will give you the 3. So it is giving you the 3. So you can ask me that. So we can also use this math.floor also, right? Floor will return the least value for this one. So now the least value for the first value for this one is 3. So it is returning the 3. So this truncate and span the same only, right? So here the problem comes when you mention this negative. So the least value, the nearest least value for this one is now here 4, right? Minus 3.79. It's not 3. 4 is the least value. So now here if you try to see floor, you are getting it as 3. But if you want to get only this one means, so you will get truncate thing. So this is the main difference between the floor and truncate. So this is the thing you need to understand it. Rather than this, so these are the methods. So these are the some of the methods that are available in the ES6 which you will be using more often. So truncate, floor, so these are all things you need to understand it. So this is all about the ES6 promises and the classes. So these are the important thing. Okay.